Breaking tonight, peace talks not in Ukraine or Israel, but at the White House. Aides to President Trump are said to be feverishly working to broker a ceasefire with Elon Musk. This comes after the two billionaires exchanged unpleasantries, initially over the president's so-called big beautiful bill, but later over all sorts of issues. We have the latest from President Trump tonight in a phone call with Bret Baier. Senior national correspondent Aisha Hasni is at the White House live tonight. Good evening, Aisha.
And Rich, good evening to you. The president, in fact, just spoke about Elon Musk on Air Force One, and he said he's been so busy working on China and Iran that he's not really thinking about Musk. And it really does seem like he was on the phone all day long with just about everyone except for Elon Musk.
President Trump avoiding questions today as he departed for Bedminster amid a nasty breakup with the wealthiest man in the world. But the president did speak to Fox's Bret Baier over the phone this afternoon, telling him he has no interest in talking to his ex-friend Elon Musk. Trump adds that he's not worried about a third-party threat which Musk has floated on X, pointing to favorable polling and the support he has amongst Republicans on Capitol Hill. Trump telling Baier, quote, Elon's totally lost it.
He's a great patriot.
Just 3 months ago, the president bought a Tesla from Musk at full price. Now Fox is told the White House is trying to sell it or give it away. For his part, Musk appears open to mending relations. Last night, he reversed his decision to decommission the Dragon spacecraft. And he replied, "You're not wrong," to a post by fellow billionaire Bill Ackman, who wrote the two men should make peace for the benefit of our great country. Democrats on the Hill using the rift to split Republicans even further in an effort to kill Trump's so-called big beautiful bill.
We only need 4.
The White House trying to save it.
This bill is a recipe for American greatness,
While attempting to shift focus to other news. A strong jobs report which showed wages are up more than inflation. With just one worrying sign, manufacturing lost 8,000 jobs.
Under the Trump administration, manufacturing jobs are still up over what the last administration under Biden had.
And Rich, some movement on trade talks today. Today on the phone, the new South Korean president told President Trump that he would like to resolve the tariff issue in a swift manner, and the president invited him to visit the White House. Also, the U.S. trade delegation, which includes, of course, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, and also Trade Rep Jamieson Greer, they will be visiting London on Monday to have talks with their Chinese counterparts, that trade delegation, and so more to come on that. Rich?
Aisha Hasni live for us at the White House. Aisha, thank you.
Looks like we're not getting that big, beautiful truce. Well, not yet, at least. President Trump telling Bret Baier today that he is not interested in talking to Elon Musk and that, quote, Elon's totally lost it. And like any breakup, he's giving his stuff back. President Trump is thinking about selling the Tesla he purchased back when he was trying to help promote Elon Musk's company. It has been parked for 3 months at the White House. However, the commander-in-chief was taking calls this morning, just not from Elon. Watch.
You call the president on his cell phone at 6:45, he picks up.
He said Elon wants to talk to him. He's not ready to talk to Musk, who he called a man who has lost his mind.
Someone who just got off the phone with the president. CNN chief political correspondent Dana Bash joins us now by phone. Dana, what did he tell you?
Good morning, John. Well, he said that he's, quote, well, here's exactly what he said, quote, I'm not even thinking about Elon. He's got a problem. The poor guy's got a problem. He said he won't be speaking to him for a while, but he said he wishes Elon Musk well.
But some Democrats are split on the big, beautiful breakup. One lawmaker warming up to the idea of bringing Musk back into the tent. But others, like ASC, were spiking the football.
Oh, man, the girls are fighting, aren't they?
If Donald Trump is smart, the first thing he's going to do is fire, investigate, and prosecute all of Elon's people.
Democrats have to be a big tent party. And the way we do that is by bringing in people like Elon Musk and anyone else who would be open to the idea of competent government.
The Dems, we've been dumping all over Musk and vandalizing Teslas or whatever, and now suddenly we might be more back into him.
So, Jessica, is it okay for Democrats to dust off their Teslas and start driving them again?
Yeah, totally. I think it's okay for you to keep doing it. I did see one on the Merritt Parkway where they had, you know, like the Tesla sign, it's a T, but it said resist. So it was like resist on it. So it was a combination of I don't like you, but also this is a peak performance car and I love it. I personally am a fan of Teslas. I love how Trump called everyone to say, I'm not thinking about Elon Musk, like classic. You just got dumped, Dana Bash. Yeah, totally. You know, all my speed dials, like, hey, Brett, I'm not thinking about him at all. What's going on with you? It was, he called, I don't know, something was in my ear. Brett called him. Okay. Anyway, Trump wants to talk about it. He's upset about it.
He's answering the phone.
He doesn't sleep and he loves the phone. So this all makes sense.
Has
It's
he
kind
ever
of a
called
perfect
you?
storm. Definitely not.
Do you have his number?
No, but I'm sure other people at the table could help me out if I
Jesse,
needed to
do you
find
have
out.
his number?
No comment.
Okay. So this is all fun, right? Like the Real Housewives of the Oval Office. And yesterday I was having a great time. You know, wonderful meme day. Twitter's got its groove back, all of that. But two things are really important here. One, we can't take our eye off the prize, which is actually the content of what Elon Musk is talking about, and that is this big, beautiful bill. So he's upset because personally it's an attack on his companies because of getting rid of the energy credits. But he's right about ballooning the deficit. He is right about that you don't need those kinds of tax cuts. And he's right, and others as well, that you're going to be throwing millions of people off of their health insurance. The other part of this, and I heard it all the time, you know, well, it's so amazing, you know, we have a transparent administration back in office and we're respected around the world. It is the exact opposite. We are the laughingstock of the world. Literally, the internet across the globe is making fun of America.
No, not the internet making fun of America. I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight.
I'm not just saying like random like big balls accounts. I'm talking about like Medvedev, all of the Russians, everyone in the government.
Medvedev was tweeting about this?
Well, if this were reversed, you would be making so much fun of. No, it couldn't actually. We couldn't possibly be
No, it
this
can't be.
immature.
It's impossible to be reversed. It's impossible.
It
because
also has
because
real
you guys don't do
implications for the way the
anything
country-
in front of other people. You did 5 years.
You said Joe
of
Biden
a
basically died in
massive
front of everyone.
deception, entirely designed
How
to
can you
trick a
defend
country.
this?
Look, if this feud were having in a vacuum, I might feel differently, right? But I will gladly embrace a feud over a fraud. This isn't a backroom cover-up of a horror show of a presidency. It's not a massive deception engineered to trick a country. This is an open quarrel between patriots. One who's risking his empire and another who risked his life, both for this country. And we understand it. We understand what's going on here. But the Dems don't. Because the idea of fighting over principles, honesty, transparency is so alien to them. They're thinking like, dude, why didn't you guys just lie? I mean, that's what we do. We had an incapacitated president and we pretended he was real. Why are you guys fighting? Haven't you ever heard of lockstep? No, we have Republicans, libertarians. We have a tolerance for risk. We're okay with arguments. We're even fine with infighting. This isn't even that interesting to me. It isn't. And, you know, Musk, to his credit, is directing a hell of a lot of attention to something that is existential, the economic debt crisis. And that's important. He's doing everything he can to do that. And he's mad at Trump for not getting there fast enough. But if you were to ask a Democrat who's right, most of them wouldn't have an answer because the answer doesn't matter. In their world, it doesn't matter. This might be ugly. It might be passionate, but it's another day in the office for adults.
It's Friday, and that means it's time for Friday Follies. And for that, we turn to Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. Raymond, this is one of those Fridays where I'm really glad it's Friday. And this Elon-Trump rift, you know, that's kind of part of it. But it's being portrayed as the most traumatic breakup since Brangelina. But I guess we all saw signs that this was coming.
Well, there were some subtle and not so subtle tremors, Laura, before this thing broke into open warfare. If you carefully watched Elon's goodbye, he took a backhanded dig at the president's golden additions to the Oval Office. Watch.
I think the way that the Oval Office, how the president has just completely redone the Oval Office is beautiful. I love the gold on the ceiling.
Thank you. It's pretty nice.
There's a lot of gold in there, Laura. That's clearly a dig. Look, every edge of the wainscot has gold filigree now. Elon was taking a little swipe there, and at the same event, the president commented on Elon's bruise, that bruised eye, and later he used it to needle him.
It turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X,
I
could
saw
do
his
it.
mom right now.
Even with the black eye, I said, "Do you want a little makeup? We'll get you a little makeup." But he said, "No, I don't think so," which is interesting and very nice.
Laura,
interesting.
These two, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, he wanted to be himself. But look, these two have clearly been tweaking each other for a long time. There can only be one president, and it wasn't Elon. The president was the guy who gave Elon that ceremonial key on his way out of the White House, which, as you know, he gives it to a lot of people. So it itself was kind of a demeaning, here you go, goodbye, great to see you, thanks a lot. There were tensions building for a long time.
You spent $250 million in when giving you this key. I mean, I like the key. But did he like the gold on this? It's a little hard to, but there was a lot of subterranean kind of movements there. I kind of noticed that.
Passive-aggressive things that they were both emitting, despite their great affection for each other early on.
I think
they both did.
Yeah, they like each other.
Well, the thing that made me laugh, Laura, did you see Russia offered Elon Musk? They offered him political asylum today. I'm not making this up. And I love the media attention to Trump's Tesla. They actually had a Tesla cam on all day. Did they think Trump was going to go out there and deface his own car, key his own vehicle, or torch it? I mean, this is crazy. And my sense is there will be some big theatrical patch-up. They're going to get together again.
Yeah.
All will be well, Laura. All will be well.
I agree. They're better off together. It's like one of those couples. They're just better off. There's problems. Stay together. Better off together. The left is nuts. They're totally nuts. Elon's not going to align with those people. And there's no 80% of the country who's desperate to have, a libertarian agenda. It's just not. If that was the case, then Rand Paul would be president right now. And we love Rand Paul, but he's not president. Okay, so, I mean, they both are great people, and they both got to fix it. All right, all will definitely not be well, though, and isn't in the Obama household. Michelle Obama admitted this week that her own daughter has changed the last name.
Malia, who started in film, her first project, she took off her last name, and we were like, they're still going to know it's you, Malia. But we respected the fact that, she's trying to make her way.
She calls that the push away, Laura. She said the kids are engaged in push away. But maybe she's changing her last name because you keep talking about her on your podcast. I always say, just because you're in the public eye doesn't mean your kids have to be. And maybe that's why they're changing the last name.
Wait a second. I have a question. Is she just like Cher? Is she just Malia?
Malia! Exclamation point.
There's no last name at all? Is it Robinson? Is she taking Michelle's mom's, Michelle's maiden name? That would be kind of cool, I guess.
I think she's just a one-namer, Laura.
Malia. Okay.
Yeah.
And the former First Lady is again complaining about the scrutiny she received from you, Raymond, while she was in the White House. In a new book, she writes that during our, what did she say? During our family's time in the White House? What?
The way I looked was constantly being dissected, what I wore, how my hair was styled. For a while now, I've been wanting to reclaim more of that story, to share it in my own way. Now, Laura, the book is called literally The Look, and it is by Michelle Obama. If she hates dissecting her style, why is she writing a book about, quote, the beauty and intrigue that she brought to the White House through her style? None of this makes sense. There's a self-loathing thing in Michelle Obama. She's kind of like the person who faults the fish for taking the bait. You dress up, you do magazine covers, people scrutinize it, and then you complain about it while you charge them to hear your complaints. None of this makes sense.
Okay. Larry liked that one. He's here now.
38 years next month.
Oh, congratulations.
Saintly wife.
That's amazing.
Hello.
Judith. All right. Larry, please do step in here. What are we supposed to make of all this?
It's a spat,
A spat?
You got two strong players. It's a spat. I don't think it has any political significance whatsoever.
A spat would indicate to me that they're going to reconcile.
I think they will. I think they absolutely will. But bear in mind, there have always been differences Elon Musk, for example, doesn't like tariffs. President Trump does. Elon Musk does like China. He's got an operation in China, and we're having big problems with the China trade. And Elon Musk also is a hawk on immigration, a hawk meaning he wants more H-1B visas. That was something that he disagreed with the president. The other thing was he was kind of wearing thin because don't forget, and I'm trying to stay on substance here. I don't want to do the personal stuff at all. He's up to about $180 billion on his website, right? That's what the savings is from waste, fraud, and abuse. Okay, that's a great number. And he's done a great service to this country for that. And if he wants more, everyone would agree with that, every sensible person. But he did say, you know, in 60 or 90 or 100 days, he'd have $500 billion. Remember that? Actually, if you go back, he talked about $1 trillion. So the numbers are falling short. He was kind of wearing thin with White House staff.
Sounds like you're on side Trump here in this.
Oh, I think I think Mr. Trump played his cards brilliantly. He's been almost above the fray. He's made his he has not really fought back on this personal stuff. He's done very well. By the way, Donald Trump's ratings, his approval ratings for decent polls that aren't rigged, is around 50% plus. So there's no problem there. There's not going to be any issue here with respect to the one big beautiful bill, which will pass the Senate and the House in the next few weeks, and it's going to be a terrific growth bill. And in fact, Sandra,
you sound pretty certain on that.
In your honor, I have this chart. I know you're coming on the set with me this afternoon.
Can't wait.
So when I go through the numbers, I think the total deficit reduction will be $8.5 trillion, okay? Throw out the CBO, which says the deficit will increase by $3 trillion. It's going to fall by $8.5 trillion.
You're going to share that with me?
Yes, I will. With, by the way, particularly a growth dividend of about 3%. Okay. And on that subject, now that you asked me, I'm so happy. The numbers this morning on the jobs report, I mean, I'm sorry, liberal left media, there is no recession. No recession. That's in this jobs report. And they won't relent. They want to pin a recession on Trump that doesn't exist. What is happening, government jobs are falling. Federal jobs in the government were off 22,000. Private sector jobs are running 140,000. Beating the 12-month average of 122,000. Private jobs are rising, government jobs are falling. And get this, there's a way to calculate wages through an income proxy. Basically, middle class, blue collar, production oriented, manufacturing oriented, their income is rising at 4.2% over the last 12 months. That's twice the inflation rate, which means there's plenty of juice in consumer demand and spending, aka no recession, inflation coming down. The bill hasn't been passed yet, but when it does pass, and there's a business boom going on. I'm just saying, look at the job numbers, no recession. I'm sorry, left-wing media.
I hear that. This was an interesting. So let's say, okay, you're predicting the bill passes, the big beautiful bill passes, that they're going to reconcile after this spat, Trump and Musk.
At some point,
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries weighed in on whether Democrats, if it goes the opposite direction that you're predicting, would embrace Musk after this split. Watch this.
To the extent that there are former members of the Trump administration, as has been the case now for years, that actually have a greater degree of clarity about the downsides of Trumpism in the United States of America, we welcome continued conversations with those former members.
I think that was a word salad to say, we'll start driving Teslas again.
What a lot of crap that is. I mean, they've been throwing Molotov cocktails at his cars and calling him a Nazi for 6 months. So now they want to align with him. Here's a problem for the Democrats with all their hypocrisy. Elon wants lower spending throughout the government. Show me a single
Amen.
Democrat who is for lower spending.
Yeah.
This what this whole bill argument
That's a
is
great point.
about. I mean, yeah, there's tax cuts. But Elon wants to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. Elon's the guy who rang the bell on Medicaid and Social Security, people 150 years old getting Social Security checks, okay? People not working, getting food stamps and welfare. The Democrats are opposed to every single part. Elon wants a bigger budget cut. Show me a Democrat that wants a bigger budget cut. So
Show me a Democrat that had a plan over the last 4 years under the last administration.
That's
you and I have
correct.
talked about that ad nauseum.
You could say the last 30 years since Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich cut welfare. But here's the point I'm going to make.
All right. Trump
Trump is riding high. The economy is coming in fine. Inflation is down. The stock market has come back. May was the best since 1990, I think. The S&P is almost at 6,000, Sandra.
But wait. If I'm Wall Street, though, and I'm saying, okay, you're painting this picture of strong employment.
Right.
Okay.
Decent employment.
Inflation coming down.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
There's no interest rates cuts in the future coming then.
It's okay, you know.
That's okay.
At some point, as the year goes on, if the inflation trends continue to ease down, and I believe they will, supply-side tax cuts, supply-side economic growth will help lower inflation. Energy prices coming off, right? We haven't seen so much in gasoline, but it's in front, okay? Yes, this is going to be a terrific year for the stock market, an absolutely terrific year for the stock market.
I can tell you that there's two events happening at the White House right now. You've got the president signing executive orders in the Oval. That's closed press right now. He's participating in a swearing in for the Secretary of the Navy. That's expected right about now. We're told those are closed press. That could obviously change, and the president could decide to take questions and make things really interesting.
He's handling himself. Mr. Trump's handling himself. So,
but you'd rather not have the public.
Look, I agree. I'm sorry this happened. You know,
Yeah.
I interviewed Elon, long interview, months ago.
I remember.
I congratulate him for focusing on the bloated federal government.
Yep,
all right?
and he did.
And I continue to believe he may be the smartest guy on the planet. The guy's a genius, and I want him working on the right side of the issues. But you know what? These things happen, and then they unhappen.
I will see you at 4 o'clock, sir.
Did you memorize this deficit thing?
I did. I'm going to screenshot that, so I'm prepared for my.
I'll give you another pass at
my
it.
segment
I'll
with you.
give you one more pass at it.
I'm looking to Friday evening with you. Thanks, Larry. All right.
Pleasure.
Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, is here. All right, Speaker. Is Elon going to derail the big, beautiful bill?
Absolutely not. Look, we are feeling the same energy that the president is. He's leading. He's delivering on his promises, and we all are. The big, beautiful bill is basically all those campaign speeches reduced to legislation. That's what it is. That's how important it is. Think of what's in this. A record level of tax cuts, a record level of spending cuts, secure border, American energy dominance again, regulatory reform, all the things that we promised, and we're shoring up these essential programs that people rely upon. The president is making good on his promises, and we are too, and that thing is on a glide path to be passed before Independence Day so he can sign it into law.
So he says that it doesn't cut spending and it drives up the debt or the deficit. What do you say to that?
Elon is relying on the liberal CBO analysis, okay? What they're arguing is that if we extend existing tax cuts, it somehow adds to the deficit. That is not new spending. What we're doing is providing tax relief for the American people, because if we didn't do this, Jesse, everybody now knows, we'd have the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of the year. So what we're doing here is having a historic level of spending cuts. We're talking about $1.6 trillion in spending. Jesse, there has never been any legislative body in the history of mankind that has cut that much spending. Now, is it enough? Look, I agree with our friend Elon. We need to cut more spending, but you can't do it all overnight. So this is the first in a series of things that we are going to do to get the country back on fiscal trajectory, a sound fiscal standing. And the president promised that. He believes in it, we believe in it, and we're doing that,
Right.
and it starts with the big, beautiful bill.
So Elon's mad because I guess the DOGE cuts aren't being codified. They aren't being made into law. Are they not? He said he saved us like what, almost $300 billion?
About $170 billion and counting, and that's a heroic effort, and we applaud it, and we are codifying it. See, the problem is it's a three-step process. You had to qualify and then quantify and then codify what he did. And in his defense, there was no playbook for that, right? So it takes a while to do it. But here's the thing. The first rescissions package came in from the White House last week. We'll be voting on that next week, and it's about $9.4 billion. And it's the first of many that will be coming our way. Remember that Elon was working in the category of discretionary spending. The one big beautiful bill is a reconciliation bill, and it is limited by definition to mandatory spending. So you had two different categories.
Got it.
But we're going to do it all, and all that's in process now.
You got to, quantify, qualify, codify, a lot of fives. Elon Musk is the wealthiest guy ever. Are you worried that he's pissed off? He was a big mega donor to the Republican Party last cycle. Does that concern you, or you just said, we don't need it?
No, it doesn't concern me. We're going to win either way because we're going to win on our policies. We're delivering for hardworking Americans and fulfilling those promises. But look, I like Elon. I respect him. I mean, we became friends in all this process. I've been texting with him even this week and trying to make sure that he has accurate information about the bill. I think he's been misled about it. But look, we're going to make good on this. I like the president's attitude. He is moving on. He has to. He's laser focused on delivering for the people, and House and Senate Republicans are as well. So we've got our hand to the wheel. We're going to get this job done just like we told the people. And if you are a hardworking American that is struggling to take care of your family, you are going to love this legislation. I'm telling you, all boats are going to rise, and everybody's going to be in a much better mood before we go into that midterm election in 2026.
So if
and
the
we'll
Senate,
hold this majority and grow it.
If the Senate kicks this back in a couple weeks, you're trying to get it done before July 4th. If they kick it back, are you guys going to pass it, or are there going to be some guys that say, oh, no, we got to do this, we got to do that, and then this goes on forever and tanks it?
It can't go on forever. No, I'm in the consensus building business, and it's a delicate balance. We got a 3-vote margin in the House and a 3-vote margin in the Senate. So Leader Thune is working hard over on it right now, and I encourage my Republican colleagues and friends in the Senate, please don't modify it much, right? I gave them the metaphor, Jesse. I'm crossing over the Grand Canyon on a piece of dental floss, okay? Don't load it up either side. We got to get this done, but I think we will.
All right, well, you've gotten things done so far, so far, so good. Let's see if you can keep the streak alive. Speaker Johnson, good to talk to you. Have a great weekend. Keep balancing on that dental floss.
But first, to our senior White House correspondent, Peter Ducey, is live from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Other than the phone call with Brett, both sides have been pretty quiet for the last few hours here, Peter.
Yes, but President Trump does think that Elon Musk has totally lost it. And while there is no planned call between the two of them today, there is more. We've got a live picture that we can show you of the driveway in between the White House and the old executive office building. Okay, there it is. The red Tesla with Florida tags that President Trump bought during a South Lawn Tesla showcase to help Musk while his businesses were being boycotted. We are told this is not going to be there for long because the plan now is to either give it away or sell it.
I'm not going to comment on the relationship between President Trump and Mr. Musk, but I will say that the economy the president is stewarding is performing fantastically.
And we got 2 accusations about the Epstein files and who deserves credit for the election from a simple disagreement about the big beautiful bill.
The only difference between Friday and today is Elon went back to his companies, and as a businessman, he has a right to speak for his companies. But as president, President Trump has a responsibility to fight for this country.
And if there was any indication that Musk may have been on unsteady ground, it was about this time last Friday, when we tried to ask him about that New York Times report alleging inappropriate use of recreational drugs. So there is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line between.
Is the New York Times, is that the same publication that got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? Is it the same organization?
I got to check my Pulitzer counter.
It is. I think the judge just ruled against the New York Times for their lies about the Russiagate hoax, and that they might have to give back that Pulitzer Prize. That New York Times, let's move on.
Still no clarity about whether or not what he thinks about that New York Times story, but I am told that Elon Musk's act with President Trump started to wear thin about a month ago. John.
You telling me that you're a possible catalyst for this breakup, Peter?
I'm not saying I'm the catalyst. I'm just saying it seems like he had some stuff on his mind on his last day, And President Trump was sitting right there. He was watching that all unfold. I'm sure he would have loved to know what Elon Musk thinks about this New York Times report.
Do me a favor and don't get anywhere near my marriage. Thank you, Peter. Sandra?
Well, it's been almost 24 hours since President Trump and Elon Musk's bitter public feud began. Both men quick to throw punches. Trump saying that Elon Musk was wearing thin, among other things. And Musk claims that Trump couldn't have won the election without him. There's some Epstein insinuations and even more. But a white flag may be on the horizon. According to the White House, Elon Musk now wants to speak with President Trump. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-host, Kayleigh McEnany. And also joining us today, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business anchor and host of American Dream Home on Fox Business. Marie Harf, Fox News contributor and former State Department spokesperson under President Obama. And Tom Shalhoub, Fox News contributor and Fox Nation host. Now, first, let's go to senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy, who is live outside the White House with the latest on this very public feud. Peter.
And Emily, we are here outside the White House. We have something that we don't usually have when we join you from the North Lawn. We have a live picture of the driveway that is in between the White House and the EEOB. Okay, you see right there, red Tesla with Florida tags. We can report today that this Tesla that President Trump bought for staff to use as part of a South Lawn demo to help Tesla. The plan is now for it to be given away or sold. Musk might talk to White House aides later on today, but officials here are not tracking any kind of a call with the president.
I'd rather have him criticize me than the bill, because the bill is incredible. You know, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate. Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore.
This was the lowest blow from Musk. He said, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems would control the House and Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate. After some back and forth, the president eventually said, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts. I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Accusations also flew around about the Epstein list, and the closest thing to a detente was Musk writing, "You're not wrong," in response to billionaire Bill Ackman, who posted, I support Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and they should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We are much stronger together than apart. And officials here basically say the big, beautiful bill is more important to President Trump than making nice with Elon.
The only difference between Friday and today is Elon went back to his companies, and as a businessman, he has a right to speak for his companies. But as president, President Trump has a responsibility to fight for this country.
We're also told that when President Trump says Elon Musk was wearing thin here, that started about a month ago. Back to you.
Peter, thank you. All right, Marie, I want to come to you first. Because some people feel that this is simply a public airing of dirty laundry, a squabble that will be resolved quickly. But there are others who feel that this represents something much greater, including both of the positions and offices that they hold, and sort of portends a potential rift in MAGA territory. What does the Democrat side say?
Well, it's interesting. Obviously, this is good political entertainment for a lot of people, right? This feud yesterday when it exploded, you know, X and Blue Sky were abuzz with this very, like, sort of Mean Girls feud they were having. But I think what's important to your question, Emily, is what it says about how they view government and public service. They immediately went to Elon saying, I got you elected, I helped you, and Trump saying, well, I'm going to take away your government subsidies. It really laid bare, I think, the corruption that Elon Musk, a private citizen with, you know, a ton of government contracts, got given private information, access to a ton of government facilities, fired a bunch of government workers who make a sliver of what he makes in a day. And now he's threatening to cut off, you know, Donald Trump from his campaign contributions. So I think they are laying bare, you know, once the hubbub of this, I think, dies down, the fact that they are openly talking about how corrupt they are and how they helped each other get money and positions of power, the American people do not like that. And I think you're going to see, you know, even independents and some Republicans saying, like, this is messy because it's so gross and so corrupt.
So, Kayleigh, Marie says corrupt, but many see transparency as this. And the hallmark of the fact that this is laid bare on the public square is in a stark contrast to the prior administration, hallmarked by opacity, but also that it's simply sort of dealing out in platforms that they own so that we can see how the sausage is made. And it sort of shows, too, that perhaps Trump's, his baby is the big, beautiful bill that he takes much more seriously than attacks on him personally.
I think quite the opposite, Marie. First of all, Elon Musk is not some random business that got a government contract. Elon Musk happens to have the way you get to space, SpaceX. That's the way we get to space. And he had contracts in the Biden administration. So the fact that this rift happens shows there's not this mutual dependence that can't be broken and there's this corruption that solidifies them. No, this falling out shows quite the opposite, in my view. What I will say is this. One of the best voices and most respected voices that I have come to really admire is that of Bill Ackman, who has been such a mediator between Harvard and the Trump administration. And yesterday, as we were tracking this, Emily, we're on the couch, right? We start to see these Elon Musk tweets come out. We see Trump mention him from the Oval Office, and then they escalate, and Elon escalates. And then throughout the day, it escalates more. And then there was a drop last night, because I'm monitoring the Twitter feed, and the drop came with Bill Ackman's tweet. Bill Ackman said this: "I support Donald Trump. I support Elon Musk. They should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We are stronger together than apart." First time we got any sign of Elon Musk backing down, he said, "You are not wrong." Then he doubled down on that. Someone said to him, like, "Hey, don't decommission Dragon, the spacecraft." And then he wrote, "I agree." So we saw this de-escalation when this respected voice came in. And I want to praise President Trump, because President Trump today, you know, he could have roasted Elon Musk. He's not doing that. He put out 5 tweets about the economy. Yes, he has called reporters. Jonathan Karl is one of the reporters he spoke with at ABC. Jonathan Karl said he didn't seem angry about Elon Musk. Donald Trump has taken the high road here. He really has. And I want to praise him on that. And let's hope that for the good of the country, to Bill Ackman's point, these people come together, because the richest man in the world and the most powerful can obviously have quite a partnership for the behest of the American people, as we saw with rescued astronauts.
Yeah. So, Cheryl, I'm the kind of person that, like, I really hate conflict. I get uncomfortable when people, like, argue in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, when you're at dinner with friends and someone is arguing with their boyfriend or girl, like, I get really uncomfortable. So there's many people who feel like, they're like, oh, gosh, is this the end? And then there's others who say, this is a drop in the bucket for people who are sort of hot on the inside, and that it's easily forgettable. It's a flash in the pan. They will move forward. What do you think this sort of messages for the future of the party in this collaboration, i.e., is it forever fractured, or indeed is it reparable?
Well, I think that both men would do well to figure out a way to coexist. I don't know that bromance is ever going to be what it was. That's just my opinion. But, you know, look, I mean, there are real-world implications, and she just brought up SpaceX. I mean, look, Tesla stock erased 14% yesterday on all of this. That was $152 billion in market value for that company. You know, a lot of people own Tesla stock in their 401k. Note to self. The other thing here, and the Wall Street Journal mentions this, is they call it the Trump-Musk War of the Roses. And this is the editorial board. But they say the political allies will both lose in this nasty divorce. Look, Elon Musk is not going to get those EV mandates back into the big, beautiful bill. He knew that, obviously. I'm sure he wasn't happy about it. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that his ire needs to be at Donald Trump. Maybe directed at Congress. They're the ones that are not heeding the work of DOGE. And you know what? Look, I'm a numbers person. You know me, I'm a geek. If I spent that much time and I brought an entire staff of people that I trusted and believed in, which is what Musk did, to work on DOGE to find government waste and fraud and to figure out a way to have a fiscally conservative and responsible government, I'm a fiscally conservative type of gal, I'd be furious too. So I'm not sure that Musk's ire was sent in the correct place. But I think that Bill Ackman is right. Let's bury the hatchet. Let's move on and move past this.
Tom, I noticed that yesterday in the press conference with the German chancellor, what wasn't answered, at least not to my understanding, I might have missed it, but a reporter asked the president if Elon Musk had raised concerns privately before going public with his concerns about the bill. And I don't think, at least from what I saw, that we got an answer on that. So do you think that matters in this? And do you think the White House stating that there isn't a call scheduled today, it has no plan to speak with Elon Musk today, that sort of is sending a message in and of itself? You know what? You burned me publicly. You can sit tight for a minute. I'll get to you when I can, especially on the 81st anniversary of D-Day.
Yes, and you don't need to make up right away, and I think Trump knows that. I don't know if he ever needs to make up. Bill Ackman wants them to make up and be cozy. We have to have this coalition together. But, you know, Trump doesn't need to like you to make deals with you. People sometimes complain about that, but he says, hey, I'll meet with Putin. I want to talk to Putin. You know, he's a tough guy. You know, he went to North Korea. I mean, he will deal with the baddest guys on the planet. He will make deals with them. So he does this in his own government. He feuds with Jerome Powell. Trump doesn't need to be on your good side to get things done. So this might be a new role for Elon. He's not a politician. Okay, he's not getting in the way of Trump and his voters. He's not getting in the way of MAGA. He is having a personal feud with Trump. But even if they don't make up, they could come together and make a deal. And he could say, oh, look, he's a tough guy. Hey, I respect him. You know, I don't like him anymore, but, you know, they can make a deal. So that could be the new relationship. And it could work for Elon as well, because a lot of people, you know, Elon is now just totally identified as being a Trump guy. Okay, now he's not. So maybe he can make his own deals on the side with people who don't like Trump. Maybe it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, and we'll see what those Vegas odds say about who says I'm sorry first.
Well, the big ugly public spat between President Trump, Elon Musk, now forcing some DOGE supporters and even officials to pick sides. One of them is James Fishback. He got Musk's attention earlier this year with his push to distribute $5,000 DOGE dividend checks to taxpayers. It would be funded by the money that DOGE had hoped to cut from government spending. James now stepping aside from his role as an official outside advisor to DOGE. He joins me now. He's the CEO as well of the investment firm Azoria. Is that right?
That's right.
Azoria, I got that right. Great. Okay, so James, you say Musk totally gone off the rails, gone too far in this instance. What else? What do you want to see him do?
Well, I know a lot of Republicans want there to be a phone call between the president and Elon Musk. I don't think there should be. There should have been a phone call yesterday. If you have a disagreement with one of the president's policy priorities, you call him on the phone and you make the best argument. You don't resort to baseless personal attacks. And so I thank Elon for being a part of this movement, but I got to tell you the truth. President Trump won 80 million votes, the popular vote, the electoral vote, all 7 swing states, because of himself and his leadership and his policy priorities. Border crossings are down 99%, not because of Elon Musk, but because of President Trump. We created 140,000 jobs last month, all of which were in the private sector, not because of Elon Musk, but because of President Trump. And President Trump is delivering, as we saw yesterday with this conversation with Xi Jinping, a breakthrough trade deal between the U.S. and China. I'm a big fan of Elon. I'm grateful for his support to the country, but we voted for President Trump, and that's where we should be focused now.
I mean, do you think other officials are going to do likewise and step aside in a sort of protest movement here to express, you know, their dissatisfaction with the way Musk has handled this?
I think the way Musk handled this wasn't necessarily having a disagreement about the big, beautiful bill. I supported 110%. And the reason why, Jillian, is because it delivers record savings, $1.5 trillion over 10 years. It reforms Medicaid and Medicaid. It gives $70 billion for border security.
Right.
Remember, at the end of the day, you've got to spend money to make money. And what we have to think about with the big, beautiful bill is illegal immigration costs this country $150 billion a year. So to invest $70 billion one time to hire more ICE agents, more Border Patrol, open up more detention centers, that allows us to stem the flow of migrants that cost taxpayers money every year.
A lot of folks in the media, on social media as well, speculating that this whole thing, the whole feud, is a fake. Some kind of red herring or a ruse to distract people from, I guess, you know, whatever other problems they perceive there to be in Washington, of which there are many. It's real, right? You can confirm that this is a real spat. It is not staged.
This is not staged. I wish it were fake. I wish Elon didn't spaz out at the president of the United States with baseless attacks. I wish he would have aired out his perhaps legitimate grievances. I disagree with them about the big, beautiful bill. But I don't know what they would be distracting about. We are winning on all fronts. The jobs report today confirms that the Biden hangover is behind us. 140,000 Americans have jobs because of President Trump's leadership. $200 billion a year in tariff revenue. We're at the beginning of a golden age. President Trump doesn't need Elon Musk. It was nice to have him around for a few months, but it's full steam ahead with the golden age agenda.
So a little bit of a left field question that I just thought of when I was sitting here listening to you. We're going to have Andrew Yang coming up on the show later today, who, you know, he's staked a presidential run on the idea of universal basic income, $1,000 to taxpayers every month, no matter where you are, what bracket you're in. You know, your idea to cut checks based on DOGE savings for every American taxpayer. You know, is it like, I got to ask you, is it the same present, different wrapping paper here?
Very different. The money that Yang is talking about would be new money. The money that we're talking about with the DOGE dividend check would be savings that are identified by DOGE and federal agencies. Remember, taxpayer money was sent to D.C. not to be spent on Iraqi Sesame Street and that transgender opera in Colombia. It was sent to D.C. to be invested here for Americans. And so when waste, fraud, and abuse is identified, cut, and saved, you got to send it back, a part of it, to hardworking taxpayers.
All right. Well, James, thanks for taking time with us today. Really, insightful to hear your perspective right in the middle of all this.
Thanks, Jillian.
Thanks.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.